So I'm going to do something a little different tonight. I'm going to do something that I call a comedy experiment. Yeah, you don't know what's coming, but you know it's going to be, whoa. Okay. So I've been doing stand-up for maybe something like 10 years now, and I haven't really been counting. And one of the things that always happens after any open mic or any show in a bar is some drunk always comes up to me and who has never done comedy in his life and says, "Oh, I got something that you can use in your act." And it's always absolutely terrible. It's always terrible, and it's always like, "Oh, or that set you did, I got something that'll make it even better." So tonight, purely as an experiment, I'm going to actually do all of the suggestions that I've been getting over the years. I'll lay this down. It's in the way. Look cool when I bought it. Alright. First of all, let me introduce myself. I'm the Reverend Shawn. Introduce yourself as a reverend. That was a whole joke. Next suggestion that I got more than once was I should talk about World of Warcraft. So, I've never played World of Warcraft and don't know anything about it, but how about that thing, huh? Done. Actually, I did recently see a commercial for World of Warcraft, and it was like, you could go up to this super high level by paying this extra fee, and I just thought, we're just going to get to the point where eventually games are just going to be, give me money and I'll tell you won. There's no actual gameplay, just give me money and you're the winner. I think that's the direction we're going. Alright. Here's a question I get, or here's a suggestion that I get from people all the time. You should make it up off the top of your head. Because comedy is a lot more fun when it's spontaneous. So this next piece of material, I'm going to make up right now. Okay, done that. Now, some of you might remember a few weeks ago I told a bear story. How many were actually there for that story about the bear?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you remember that one, yeah. Okay, well, I had another drunk fellow came up with a way to improve the story. So I'm going to tell it his way.
I met that guy.
Oh, no, this was way before.
Oh, okay.
This is a long time ago. I'm going to tell the story his way. So, a while back there was this bear outside of my grandmother's house, but you probably don't care about the bear. You probably want to know what my grandmother was doing before the bear showed up. She was looking for her foot because she couldn't find it. That was it. That was the whole improvement that he offered as a suggestion. And he also offered a story that I could use someday, and I'm going to use it now. See, this guy was on his roof fixing a rain gutter once, a long time ago, and he fell off, and he broke his leg, and he had to go to the hospital, and he was in a lot of pain. That was a hilarious story, wasn't it? I am so glad he told me that hilarious story, so that I could use it in my act. Done. Foot and broken leg. People were in the news were talking about swine flu, and then they were talking about bird flu. I think the next one's going to be hamster flu, and we'll all be going around in these giant plastic balls. Thank you, Mom. And thank you, Mom, for that suggestion. Yes, apparently the bubble was supposed to protect you from spreading germs, and that's why it's called hamster flu, but apparently that part was implicit, and you should have gotten that without needing it explained. So. It seemed to be self-explanatory. I mean, that's why. She also suggested I talk in a Bill Murray from Caddyshack voice at some point. and not explain why, which I just did explain why. And the last two that I'm going to do here is this one I've actually done on this very stage a couple of times. Long time ago. Some of you might know Greg Gover. He used to come here. Yeah, you know. Yeah, well, he would nag me into doing this one joke every time I got on stage. He would actually like call it out as a request, and I never wanted to do it, but I'm going to do it anyway, as if he were here. So I'm being sued by Schrodinger. He says I killed his cat. I told him it was dead before I got there, but he doesn't believe me. That's why I never wanted to do that joke. However, the next suggestion that I usually get afterwards is from several people saying, explain the joke. Okay, I'll explain it. See, Erwin Schrödinger was a theoretical physicist who in 1935 proposed a thought experiment in which a subatomic particle could occupy simultaneous opposing states until observed, and he suggested that if the particle was to trigger a poison in a box that would either kill or not kill a cat, because the particle was technically in two places at once, the result would be that the cat would be both alive and dead at the same time until it was observed. Now there's a common misconception that the outcome of the experiment is based on the expectation of the observer, but however, that is not the case. It is actually based on the random outcome of the position of the original particle, and this was originally a controversial idea. Even Einstein didn't really agree with it, but later, because he was a determinist, but later experiments with double-slit experiments with entangled quantum particles actually proved that this actually does work. So the wave function, the particles aren't really particles, they're just wave functions, and if they collapse after observation, then the cat becomes retroactively either dead or alive. To put it in a little oversimplified layman's terms, it's as if the observer is straddling two simultaneous parallel universes in which the cat is both alive and dead, and then becomes in a single universe once the box is open and the cat is observed. And that was the suggestion that I explain that joke. And the last suggestion is I should dumb my act down. Fuck, I didn't do that. Thank you. Good night.